In this video of Realigned, we'll be examining a common yoga pose known as Warrior One. Warrior One is often taught in beginners classes and is part of the Sun Salutations series. But as this pose is often practiced, it can push joints past a normal range of joint motion, which some people might find difficult to practice. So how do we realign this pose? As this pose is currently configured, we have a 90-degree bend of this front knee. We have a 90-degree bend of this front hip. The back foot is at about 45 degrees. As we rotate this hip toward the front to square the hips, we're putting some compression into this back hip joint, the low back and SI joint. And as these arms come up overhead, we may actually be pushing ourselves into a little bit of a back bend, which for people with back pain or SI joint issues, this might be a difficult pose. So how do we realign this pose to work with people who may have difficulty with these joint range of motions, have difficulty with this amount of extension or reach back with the back leg? Well, for one thing, we can take the pose a little bit wider across the mat. This takes some of the compression out of the low back, out of this back hip. We could even take those feet a little bit shorter from front to back so we don't have so much of this pressure on that back foot. We could even have a teeny bit of bend with that back knee, just making sure it's lined up roughly with the toes. And then as we press down to the feet, draw up, we might decide to keep the gaze more toward the diagonal edge of the mat rather than taking this rotation. And depending on the shoulder joints, maybe you choose to take this pose with bent elbows or wide arms or even hands down at the waist. So these are some ideas for how you can realign your version of Warrior One. See you on the mat.